everyone, Tommy's Reptiles here. I grew up going out into the forest, catching snakes, frogs, turtles, and any other wildlife I can get my hands on. I'm always seeing people on YouTube saying, oh, don't do this, I'm a professional, and I've been doing this for a long time. Don't do it, but I can do it. And that's a load of nonsense. What makes them professional? Do they go to school to be a professional reptile handler? I highly doubt it. So if you put in the time and gain the experience, you can handle any reptile you really want. I choose not to handle dangerous reptiles. If I saw a baby rattlesnake in the middle of the road, I might go up and move it with a snake hook, but I'm not gonna go up and free handle a snake that I'm not familiar with and risk getting bitten. But to each their own. If somebody wants to go handle venomous snakes all day, that's on them. If they love doing it, I have no issue with that, and it's a free country. Some people go skydiving. I don't like to skydive, but that doesn't mean I don't think other people should. Of course, you should be able to do whatever you want. But if you're gonna handle dangerous animals, I recommend doing it the safe and smart way. I have no shame using a snake hook. Every time I go out looking for wildlife, I take a snake hook with me, because even if I catch a non-venomous snake, I don't want to get bit. Because you don't know if they just ate some disgusting rat with diseases, they're gonna bite your arm, draw blood, and that's gonna get into your bloodstream. That's just not me. So I'm gonna always try not to get bit. So in this video, I'm gonna take you along, show you how I handle reptiles when I don't wanna get bitten, and show you how to avoid getting bit at all costs, whether it's a lizard, a snake, or the safe way to handle a turtle. This is my Brazilian Rainbow Boa that I handle every single day, but that doesn't mean that he's not gonna bite me. He hasn't bit me since the first week I got him 2 years ago, but that doesn't mean he can't just change and strike at my face and bite me. But I trust him enough and I feel comfortable holding him and handling him. But if I was to handle another Brazilian Rainbow Boa that I wasn't familiar with, I wouldn't be holding him up near my face like this. First, I'm gonna show you how I would approach a snake that's non-venomous, that I'm not too worried about, and still avoid getting bitten, maybe without a snake hook. And then I'm gonna show you how I would approach a snake that is venomous and how I'd go about that. Handling reptiles might not just be stressful for you, but it's also very stressful for the reptile. So it's important to make sure that you're always trying to support them the best that you can so they don't get uncomfortable. It's all about making them perfectly comfortable with handling. As you can see, I'm just letting him climb over my hands and I'm supporting his whole entire body. All right guys, here's another little tidbit. If you're not familiar with snakes and you don't know much about them and you come across one, I use the same rule as you use for a gun. Just like the old gun rule, treat every gun as if it were loaded. Treat every snake as if it has venom. But since I know what this snake is and I know it's not a threat to my life, when I want to pick up a snake that I know is not venomous, the first thing that I do to avoid getting bit is I don't put my hands right in front of its face. I don't approach it from that angle, similar to how I am with other reptiles. But to show you, reach around behind the snake and pick it up this way. And keep the head away from you if you don't want to get bit. The easiest way to get bit is to put your hand right in front of its face and approach it like that. That's going to scare a snake that doesn't know you too well. But this snake is used to being handled, and I could pretty much pick this snake up any way I want. But to show you, if the snake's facing you, reach around behind it and pick it up like that. Also, be sure to give it enough support. Don't pick up a snake by the tip of its tail and hold it from here. It's going to hurt the snake. Try to hold it from like this angle right here, so he's got enough muscle mass to support his own body and he can just hold himself up. And then you just hold him like that, and he could strike me right now if he wanted, but I know this snake and he's not going to. And if it's a snake you really know is not going to bite you, there's no problem with just holding him like this and letting him climb on you. This guy likes to climb on me, so he constricts around my arm and hangs on just like you would a tree branch. But for the most part, snakes that you'll encounter in the wild just want to be left alone. They want to get away from you. A snake will normally only bite when it feels like it has no other option. Unless it's a snake that could eat you, of course, but that's a different story. So you want to support the snake. You also don't want to make any rapid movements or jerk your hands around. You want to kind of be smooth and slow. Just be calm, move slow, and the snake will feed off of your vibe, and the snake will be, for the most part, calm and cool, unless it's a snake that's just has a bad temper, which happens sometimes. But obviously I would never be doing this with a venomous snake. My Brazilian Rainbow Boa here is going to be playing the role of a venomous snake, even though he absolutely is not. I'm going to show you how I'd go about handling a venomous snake. Alright guys, now let's pretend that my snake is venomous. Alright, we're going to start when I put him on the ground, and I'll show you how you should handle a venomous snake if you need to. Oh no, an orange black mamba. I'm going to use a hook always. That's what I'm going to do, at least. Get him on the hook. make sure that you can keep his head away from you, and then simply grab the tail and then just hold it this way. So if he strikes, he's not going to reach you. Make sure you have more length on the tail than the length from his head down to the hook, and he won't be able to strike. Oh my gosh, an orange black mamba is coming towards me. So you get the hook, try to get the snake facing away from you. Just keep utilizing the hook. He's facing away, and just pick him up, bam. All right, so put the hook under the snake and try to make sure that you don't poke the snake with the hook. Try to get the hook down and under, like the grass or the sand or whatever, and then pick it up so you don't really hurt the snake. And then you're gonna get his head away from you, pick him up by the tail, and then you can pick him up and move him wherever you need to. Pretty easy. This is Squishy, my frilled dragon, and I'll show you how I'd approach picking up a lizard that I'm not too familiar with that I wanted to catch. All right, guys, I'm out here with my lizard Squishy. I'll show you how I would approach a lizard that I didn't know if I wanted to pick them up. So as you can see, he's got eyes on each side of his head right here. So the places he can't really see well are right under him. You don't really want to come above a lizard like that because they're worried about birds attacking them, see? So what I do is I try to distract him with this hand. I wiggle it around, and then with the other hand, I don't come above him. I sweep the ground kind of. So I come in low while distracting him with the other hand, and then I just pick him up like that. And that's usually how I catch wild lizards that I'm not familiar with. As some of you may know, some lizards have a third eye, and lizards are always very alert to what's going on above them because they're petrified of birds. So that's why you never want to go whoosh, right above him. So I bring him outside to give him some sunlight. So when I want to bring him inside, I just go like this, and I just let him climb on my hand. Because I don't want to grab him, really. If I have to, I will, but I like him to climb on my hand so he doesn't feel so contained. Whoop, gotcha. And I always leave my hand open if I can. And you wouldn't really want to do this method with like a monitor lizard, but with a lizard like this, you can see it takes him a little time to react to that. And he could probably see it when I'm right here, but once I'm here, he can't see my hand. Tickle, tickle, tickle. All right, Squishy's had enough. Let's bring him back inside. Come on, buddy. Good job. All right, the last reptile that I'm going to demonstrate how to handle is a turtle. You don't really have to worry too much about getting bit by a turtle because it's very easy to avoid getting bitten. Of course, it's a little different with a common snapping turtle and alligator snapping turtle, but for the most part, you'll be able to pick up a turtle no problem without getting bit. Knowing how to handle a turtle for me is more important just for the safety of the turtle and its well-being. I've been handling turtles my entire life, and I actually recently just learned this from a friend a few years ago, and I was doing it wrong for years. So what they taught me is you don't want to pick up a turtle like this, like that, out of the water, because all of the weight and all the pressure kind of can compact onto their spine. You actually want to put your hand underneath and support it like that, because the turtle's shell is connected to everything else, and it can feel everything on the outside of its shell. So you want to hold it underneath its shell and on top of its shell so it doesn't fall off. And it's important to put your fingers underneath its shell to give it full support. So there you go. That's the best way that I've learned to handle a turtle. And another side note for people handling snapping turtles, I grew up with people telling me that you're supposed to pick them up by the tail because that's the safest way not to get bit, and that's incorrect. You don't want to pick up a snapping turtle by its tail because it's connected to its spine and it could really do damage. You want to pick up a snapping turtle kind of like this. So your hands are on the shell, supporting underneath and behind like that. Because common snapping turtles can reach back and bite like halfway across their shell. So if you hold them like that, it makes it easier and safer for both you and the turtle. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching Tommy's Reptiles.